Mia Coleman stared at the Instagram notification, her coffee mug frozen halfway to her lips. Oliver Murray is now in a relationship with Vanessa Keller. The world tilted. Oliver, her Oliver, who had just kissed her goodbye, this morning before heading to work. The same Oliver whose toothbrush sat next to hers in the bathroom of the apartment. They'd shared for the last 18 months. Her hands trembled as she set down the mug, coffee sloshing over the rim onto their recently purchased dining table. Their table, purchased with their money for their future. 3 years together, 1.5 sharing this apartment, and he was in a relationship with someone else? While still coming home to her every night? Mia's first instinct was to call him, to demand an explanation. But something stopped her, a cold, calculating voice whispering that knowledge was power. And right now, she had knowledge he didn't know she possessed. She clicked on Vanessa's profile. Private. But her profile picture showed a stunning woman with honey blonde hair and a dazzling smile, her arm wrapped around Oliver. He was wearing the blue sweater Mia had given him for Christmas. In the photo's background, Mia recognized the bistro 2 neighborhoods over, a place Oliver had never taken her. Her phone buzzed with a text from Oliver. Working late tonight? Don't wait up. Love you. Mia set her phone down with unnatural calm, her mind already racing with possibilities. Not confrontation, not yet. Something else. Something that would make Oliver understand exactly what it felt like to have your trust shattered. Your reality upended. She walked to their bedroom and looked around at their shared life. Photos on the nightstand. His clothes hanging in the closet beside hers. The indentation of his head still visible on his pillow. So you're single, Oliver? She whispered to the empty room. Let's see how that works out for you. 3 days had passed since Mia's discovery, and she'd been the perfect girlfriend. She'd pretended nothing was wrong, smiling when Oliver came home late, nodding sympathetically when he complained about work stress, all while meticulously gathering evidence. Now, alone in their apartment, Mia sat cross-legged on the bed, surrounded by printouts of text messages, social media posts, and location data she'd gathered from their shared cloud account. A timeline of betrayal laid bare. It had started 6 months ago. Small inconsistencies at first. Working late more often, weekend business trips, unexplained expenses. But the digital breadcrumbs told a different story. Check-ins at restaurants when he claimed to be at conferences. Hotel charges when he was supposedly staying with friends, and Vanessa Keller, marketing executive at a rival firm to Oliver's company. They'd met at an industry conference. One Oliver had told Mia was too boring for anyone but professionals. Their relationship had progressed from professional to personal, and then to whatever this was. The most damning evidence had come from Oliver's laptop, which he'd foolishly left open when he rushed out that morning. Emails between them spanned months, growing increasingly intimate. Hotel reservations. Weekend getaways planned for the future. And the most painful, messages where Oliver described himself as single, unattached, even looking for something real. The bedroom door creaked open, and Mia quickly swept the evidence into a folder as Zoe, her best friend since college, entered with 2 glasses of wine. Jesus, Mia, Zoe whispered, taking in the scattered papers. This is worse than we thought. It gets better, Mia said, her voice hollow as she handed Zoe a printout. They're planning to move in together. Next month. He hasn't said a word to me about moving out. Zoe's face darkened as she scanned the email. What an absolute waste of humanity. What are you going to do? Throw his stuff on the lawn? Change the locks? Because I'm 100% here for that. Mia took a long sip of wine, her eyes cold with determination. No, that's too easy. He'd just play the victim, tell everyone I went crazy. She pointed to another document. Look at this. He's been saving for a ring. For her. While you've been paying 60% of the rent here because he claimed he was paying down student loans, Zoe added, her voice rising with indignation. Exactly. Mia nodded. So no, I'm not going to scream or throw things. I'm going to do something much, much worse. She pulled out her notebook where she'd sketched a detailed plan. I'm going to make him understand exactly what it feels like to have your entire reality crumble around you. Zoe studied the notebook, her expression shifting from shock to reluctant admiration. This is elaborate and slightly terrifying. She looked up at Mia. You're sure about this? He's stolen 3 years of my life, Mia said quietly. Made me believe in something that was never real. Living with me while planning a future with her. She closed the notebook with finality. I don't want revenge, Zoe. I want justice. So Operation Double Life begins tomorrow, Mia said, pouring herself another glass of wine. She and Zoe had converted the dining room into a command center of sorts. Calendars, schedules, and to-do lists covered the walls, all carefully positioned to be removed before Oliver returned each night. Walk me through it one more time, Zoe said. Studying the timeline they'd created, Mia pointed to the calendar. Phase 1, information. That's done. We know his schedule, his patterns, his plans with her. We know he's telling her he lives with a roommate, me, and that he's planning to propose to her on their upcoming weekend in Vermont, which is conveniently the same weekend. You're supposed to be visiting your parents, Zoe added. Right, phase 2, infiltration. I create a profile on the dating app where they met. Use a different name, different photos. Professional headshots with enough editing to be unrecognizable at a glance. Rebecca Chen, marketing consultant, Zoe read from the printout of the profile they'd created. Just moved to the city, loves fine dining and outdoor adventures. Perfect for Oliver. Similar enough to both me and Vanessa to catch his attention, but different enough that he won't suspect anything, Mia said. Based on his pattern, he checks the app every Tuesday and Thursday when he tells me he's working late but is actually meeting up with Vanessa. And you're sure he's still active on the app? Zoe asked. Mia nodded grimly. Messages from last week. Apparently one relationship isn't enough for him. He keeps his options open. Zoe shook her head in disgust. Charming. Phase 3. Engagement. Once he matches with Rebecca, I start building a relationship. All virtual at first. Messages, then video calls using those face-altering apps. I'll play slightly hard to get. Make him work for it. While simultaneously being the perfect unsuspecting girlfriend at home, Zoe said. That's a lot of emotional labor, Mia. Trust me, rage is an excellent motivator, Mia replied. Phase 4 is where it gets interesting. Rebecca suggests they meet at the same restaurant where he's planning to propose to Vanessa that weekend. The restaurant thinks he's making a reservation for a proposal to Vanessa, Zoe said. Following along, but he'll actually be there the night before, thinking he's meeting Rebecca for the first time, Mia finished. Except Rebecca won't show. Instead, he'll find me and Vanessa having a very interesting conversation, Zoe whistled. And phase 5? The fallout, where Oliver learns that actions have consequences. Mia's expression hardened. The truth doesn't just set you free, Zoe. Sometimes it burns everything to the ground first. Are you sure this is what you want? Zoe asked carefully. It's elaborate. Possibly a bit extreme. He's been living a double life for 6 months, Mia replied, her voice steady. I'm just making sure everyone sees both sides of it. Including him. Zoe raised her glass. To justice, then. Served ice cold. They clinked glasses as the apartment door opened. Oliver's voice called out from the hallway. Babe? I'm home early. You would not believe the day I've had. With practiced efficiency, Mia and Zoe whisked away the evidence of their planning. By the time Oliver entered the living room, he found only 2 friends sharing wine and casual conversation. Oliver! Mia greeted him with a perfect smile, the kind that never reached her eyes. What a nice surprise. He took the bait, Mia whispered, showing her phone to Zoe across the coffee shop table. 3 weeks into the plan, and Rebecca Chen had become Oliver Murray's newest digital infatuation. The dating app's messaging system was filled with his attempts at charm. The same lines. Mia noted with bitter amusement he'd once used on her. God. His opening line is still, life's too short for bad coffee, Zoe said, scrolling through the messages. That's what he said to you at that coffee shop, isn't it? And probably to Vanessa, too, Mia replied. He's not just a cheater. He's an unoriginal one. She'd become an expert at compartmentalizing her life. With Oliver, she maintained the facade of the loving, oblivious girlfriend. With Rebecca, she was mysterious and alluring, always just a little out of reach. And in the hours alone, she was a woman consumed by cold, methodical planning. "How's he explaining all the texting?" Zoe asked. "Work emails," Mia said with a humorless laugh. "He's really swamped with the new client. Meanwhile, he's sending Rebecca poems." "Poems? I haven't gotten so much as a post-it note in over a year. And Vanessa? Any progress there?" Mia nodded, pulling up another screen. "Phase 3 is almost complete. I accidentally bumped into her at the gym yesterday. Struck up a conversation about the kickboxing class, which, by the way, is extremely therapeutic when you're planning to destroy your cheating boyfriend's life. And she had no idea who you were?" "None. Oliver's been careful. No pictures of me on his social media for months. He's scrubbed me from his online life." Mia's voice caught slightly, the only crack in her composed veneer. "Anyway, we're getting coffee next week. Just two fitness enthusiasts becoming friends. That's genuinely impressive and slightly terrifying," Zoe admitted. "You're like a relationship's secret agent. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you stop crying and start planning," Mia said. She checked her watch. "I should go. Oliver thinks I'm at a work event, but I told him I'd be home by 8 to watch that show he likes." "The one you actually hate?" Zoe asked. "That's the one. All part of the perfect girlfriend routine." Mia gathered her things. "Next week is the video call with Rebecca. I've got the software ready, the backstory memorized. Once he sees her, sees me but not quite me, he'll be hooked completely. And then?" Zoe pressed. "Then Rebecca suggests meeting in person. At Riverstone, the night before he plans to propose to Vanessa. By then, Vanessa and I will be good friends. Good enough that when I suggest a girls' night at a fancy restaurant, she'll say yes without suspicion." "And you're prepared for what happens next?" "It's going to be chaos, Mia." Mia's expression hardened. "He's created this house of cards. I'm just going to be there when it falls." She stood to leave, then paused. "You know what the worst part is? Some nights when he comes home and kisses me, tells me about his day, his fake day, I almost forget what I know. For just a second, I believe in us again." "That's the cruelest part of what he's done," Zoe said gently. "He's made you doubt your own reality." "Well," Mia replied, straightening her shoulders, "reality is about to come crashing down, and I won't be the only one left standing in the rubble." "I can't believe you've never been here before." "Oliver and I come all the time," Vanessa said, stirring her latte. Mia forced her smile to remain fixed, even as her stomach twisted at the casual mention of Oliver's name. Over the past 2 weeks, she and Vanessa had become fast friends, or at least Vanessa thought they had. "It's a bit far from my neighborhood," Mia replied, the half-truth easy on her lips. She'd become fluent in half-truths. Vanessa's eyes lit up. "Where do you live again?" "Oliver and I are looking at apartments, actually. He's finally moving out from his roommate situation." "Oh?" Mia tilted her head, the perfect picture of casual interest while her heart hammered. "When's the big move? Next month?" Vanessa beamed. "We're seeing a place in Westbrook on Friday. It's all happening so fast, but when you know, right? Westbrook. The neighborhood Mia and Oliver had once dreamed of living in themselves. She took a slow sip of coffee to compose herself. "Absolutely. How long have you two been together now?" 6 months officially," Vanessa said, her expression softening. "But it feels like forever. He's the one, you know. I've never connected with someone like this before." The irony was almost too much to bear. Here was this woman, smart, successful, genuinely likable, who had no idea she was being played just as thoroughly as Mia had been. "That's wonderful," Mia managed. "You deserve someone who's completely honest with you." Vanessa's phone buzzed and she glanced down at it with a smile. "Speak of the devil. He wants to know if I'm still up for dinner tonight." "You should go," Mia encouraged. "Actually, before you do, I have tickets to that new restaurant Riverstone next Saturday. My friend canceled and I remembered you mentioned wanting to try it." Vanessa's eyes widened. "Riverstone?" That's impossible to get into. Media connections, Mia lied smoothly. What do you say? Girls' night? I'd love to. Actually, it's perfect. Oliver's taking me there on Sunday for some special surprise. I can scope it out first. Mia felt a cold satisfaction settle in her chest. Everything was falling into place. Perfect. It's a date. Later that evening, Mia sat at her desk with a glass of whiskey, preparing for her first video call with Oliver as Rebecca. The face-altering software was ready, the lighting adjusted to obscure details while maintaining the allure. Her phone pinged with a message from Oliver. Working late again. Don't wait up. Love you. Simultaneously, Rebecca received a message. Looking forward to finally seeing your face. This connection feels special. Mia took a long sip of whiskey, feeling the burn down her throat. Special, she murmured to herself. Let's see how special you think it is next Saturday. She clicked the video call button, watching as Oliver's face appeared on screen. He was in his car, not the office. His tie loosened, hair slightly rumpled in the way he knew looked good. Hi, she said, her voice slightly altered by the software. Her face just different enough to be unrecognizable at a quick glance. Nice to finally meet you, Oliver. His smile was immediate and familiar, the same one he'd given her 1,000 times. Rebecca, you're even more beautiful than I imagined. Mia felt a strange doubling of reality as she spoke to her boyfriend as someone else, watching him flirt and charm and lie. When had this become her life? Tell me something true, Oliver, she said suddenly, deviating from her script. Something you've never told anyone else. He paused, caught off guard by the request. For a moment, Mia thought she saw something genuine flicker across his face. I'm terrified of disappointing people, he said finally. So sometimes I try to be who they want me to be, even when it's not. Entirely honest. The admission hit Mia like a physical blow. Was that it? The explanation for his elaborate double life? Not malice, but cowardice. And does that work for you? She asked, genuine curiosity breaking through her calculated persona. Being different versions of yourself for different people? Oliver's laugh was self-deprecating. I'm working on being more authentic. Starting with you, Rebecca. There's something about you that makes me want to be real. The irony was almost too perfect. Mia wanted to scream, to reveal herself right then. Instead, she smiled mysteriously. I'd like that. Being real with each other, maybe we can start in person. Are you free next Saturday night? The week before, the confrontation crawled by with excruciating slowness. Every moment with Oliver felt like an acting performance worthy of an Oscar. Smiling through dinner while he texted Vanessa under the table. Kissing him goodbye in the morning, knowing he'd arranged to meet Rebecca that weekend. Are you absolutely sure about this? Zoe asked for the 100th time as they finalized the details in Mia's office during lunch. I've never been more sure of anything, Mia replied, checking off items on her list. Reservation at Riverstone confirmed for 8 p.m. Saturday with Vanessa. Oliver thinks he's meeting Rebecca there at 9. And you've thought about what happens after? Zoe pressed. Where will you go? What will you do? Mia paused. In all her meticulous planning, she'd focused so intently on the confrontation that the aftermath remained a blurry concept. I have a bag packed at your place, she said finally. After everything goes down, I'll stay with you for a few days while he moves his things out. And if he doesn't? If he tries to explain it away? He can't explain away both of us sitting there, Mia said firmly. And besides, I have copies of everything. The messages, the reservations, the lies. It's over. Saturday is just making it official. That night, as she lay beside Oliver in their bed, close enough to feel his warmth but separated by the chasm of his betrayal, he rolled over and propped himself up on one elbow. Hey, he said softly, his face half illuminated by the streetlight filtering through the blinds. I've been thinking, let's do something special this weekend. Mia's heart stuttered. This weekend? Friday night, he clarified. I know I've been distant lately. Work has been crazy, but that's no excuse. I miss us. The genuine affection in his voice made her stomach twist. How could he do this? How could he plan a special night with her while scheduling a meeting with Rebecca and a proposal to Vanessa all in the same weekend? That sounds nice, she managed, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. What did you have in mind? It's a surprise, he said, brushing a strand of hair from her face with gentle fingers. Just be ready at 7. Later, unable to sleep, Mia slipped out of bed and sat in the living room, scrolling through old photos on her phone. Pictures of her and Oliver from the beginning, genuine smiles, hopeful eyes, a future stretching out before them. When had it all started to unravel? Had there been signs she'd missed? Her phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa, so excited for Saturday. Just bought a new dress for the occasion. Thank you again for including me. Followed immediately by a message from Oliver to Rebecca. Saturday can't come soon enough. You've been on my mind constantly, and there it was, her reality, captured in 3 simultaneous text threads. The girlfriend, the other woman, and the newest conquest, all unknowingly circling the same man. Saturday can't come soon enough, Mia whispered to the empty room. You have no idea how right you are. Saturday arrived with the weight of inevitability. Mia woke early, careful not to disturb Oliver, who was still sleeping soundly beside her, the sleep of a man with no idea his carefully constructed house of cards was about to collapse. She slipped out of bed and went through her morning routine with mechanical precision. Coffee, shower, makeup applied with extra care, the red dress, the one that made her feel invincible, laid out on the bed. Morning, Oliver mumbled, stretching as he finally woke. You're up early. Girls' day with Zoe, she said easily. Another lie in a relationship now built on them. We haven't had time together in ages. That's nice, he said, checking his phone immediately. His expression shifted subtly as he read a message. From Vanessa? From Rebecca? Mia could only guess. I have that work thing tonight, he said, not meeting her eyes. Probably be late. The client dinner, right? Mia asked, knowing full well there was no dinner, no client. Right, he confirmed, already typing a response on his phone. Bunch of executives from Chicago. Could run until midnight. Mia nodded, turning away so he wouldn't see the cold determination in her eyes. Don't worry about me. I might go out with the girls after shopping. Oliver kissed her cheek absently before heading to the shower, already mentally elsewhere. How had she not noticed before? The emotional distance, the half-attention, the life lived in the spaces between their conversations. Once he left for his morning run, actually a quick breakfast with Vanessa, according to his calendar, Mia called Zoe. It's happening, she said simply. He's setting up his alibi now. Are you ready? Zoe asked. I've been ready for weeks, Mia replied. I just need to finalize a few details. Those details included one last task, one she'd debated but ultimately decided was necessary. She opened her laptop and composed an email to Oliver's parents, with whom she'd always been close. Dear Susan and Richard, I've always valued your kindness and the way you've welcomed me into your family. Which is why I wanted you to hear this from me, rather than through the grapevine. After tonight, Oliver and I will be separating. The reasons are his to explain. But I wanted you to know that I've treasured being part of your lives. And I hope that somehow, despite everything, we can maintain some form of contact. With love and gratitude, Mia, she scheduled it to send automatically at 10 p.m., when the confrontation would be well underway. She couldn't control Oliver's narrative afterward, but she could at least ensure his parents knew there was more to the story than whatever version he might present. Next, she packed the last of her essential items, documents, irreplaceable photos, the few pieces of jewelry that held sentimental value, into a small bag that she would take to Zoe's later. She'd already gradually moved most of her important possessions over the past 3 weeks, under the guise of decluttering. Her phone buzzed with a message from Vanessa. Just got my hair done for tonight. Can't wait to see you at Riverstone. It's been such a crazy week. Mia replied with appropriate enthusiasm, ignoring the twist of something almost like guilt. Vanessa was a victim in this too, although she didn't know it yet. Hours later, dressed in her red dress and with her emotions locked down tight, Mia stood in front of the mirror. She barely recognized herself, not because of her appearance, but because of what lay behind her eyes. The woman who had entered this relationship 3 years ago, trusting, open-hearted, a bit naive, was gone. In her place stood someone harder, someone who understood that love could be weaponized and trust exploited. Time to end this, she told her reflection, applying a final coat of lipstick, the same shade as the dress. Battle armor. As she left the apartment, her phone lit up with a message from Oliver to Rebecca. Looking forward to finally meeting you tonight. This feels like the beginning of something real. Mia smiled grimly as she texted Zoe. It's showtime. Riverstone Restaurant gleamed with understated elegance, all polished wood. Soft lighting and the quiet murmur of exclusive clientele. Mia arrived early, securing the perfect table, visible from the entrance but partially screened by a decorative pillar. Your friend hasn't arrived yet? The hostess asked. She'll be here soon, Mia replied, smoothing her dress as she sat. And there might be another guest arriving later. If a man asks for Rebecca Chen, please direct him here. The hostess nodded, professional and discreet. Mia wondered briefly if she'd seen similar dramas unfold in this restaurant before. The setting for both proposals and confrontations. Beginnings and endings, her phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa, running 10 minutes late. Traffic's insane. Order me a glass of that Cabernet you mentioned? Perfect. That would put Vanessa's arrival just before Oliver was due to meet Rebecca. The timing couldn't have been better if Mia had orchestrated it herself, which, in a way, she had. She ordered 2 glasses of wine and waited. Her composure a carefully maintained facade over the storm brewing inside. 3 years of her life. 3 years of believing in someone who had been building a separate existence alongside their shared one. Mia! Vanessa's voice broke through her thoughts as the woman approached the table, stunning in a blue dress. This place is gorgeous. Thank you so much for the invitation. Mia stood to embrace her, the action so surreal it almost made her laugh. Here she was, hugging the woman her boyfriend was planning to propose to tomorrow. You look amazing, Mia said truthfully. I ordered you wine. Perfect, Vanessa beamed, taking a seat. I needed this. It's been such a chaotic week. Oliver's been acting strange. Secretive phone calls, mysterious errands. I think he's planning something for our trip tomorrow. Mia took a slow sip of wine. Oh, what kind of trip? Vermont for the weekend. He's been so insistent about this specific restaurant we have to try. Vanessa leaned forward conspiratorially. Between us, I think he might propose. His mother called me almost daughter last week on the phone. The casual mention of Susan Murray, the woman who had once told Mia she was the best thing to happen to her son, was like a knife twist. Mia's hand tightened on her wine glass. That's quite a development, she managed. You seem ready for that step. Absolutely, Vanessa nodded enthusiastically. When you find the one, you just know. Oliver's so grounded, so honest. That's rare these days. Mia checked her watch. 8:50 p.m. 10 minutes until Oliver would arrive, expecting to meet Rebecca Chen. Vanessa, she began carefully. How much do you actually know about Oliver's living situation? Vanessa looked slightly surprised by the change in topic. He shares an apartment with a roommate from college. Why? His roommate's name is Mia, correct? Mia continued, her voice steady. Yes, I think so. He doesn't talk about her much. They're not particularly close from what I understand. Vanessa tilted her head. Do you know her? Very well, actually. Mia placed her phone on the table, opened to a photo of her and Oliver from Christmas, his arm around her, both wearing matching sweaters. I'm Mia. Vanessa stared at the photo, confusion clouding her features. I don't understand. Why do you have a picture with Oliver? Because I'm not his roommate, Mia said quietly. I'm his girlfriend. We've been together for 3 years, living together for 18 months. The color drained from Vanessa's face as she grabbed the phone, staring at the image with growing horror. This can't be right. He said his roommate was just a friend from college. I graduated from Berkeley. Oliver went to NYU. We met at a conference in Chicago 3 years ago. Mia kept her voice gentle, despite everything. I'm sorry, Vanessa. I truly am, but Oliver has been lying to both of us. Why are you showing me this? Vanessa demanded, her voice rising slightly. Why now? Why like this? Because in about... Mia checked her watch again. 5 minutes, Oliver is going to walk through that door expecting to meet a woman named Rebecca Chen for their first date. A woman he's been pursuing online for weeks, while still living with me and planning a future with you. Vanessa's hand trembled as she set down her wine glass. Rebecca Chen doesn't exist, does she? No, Mia confirmed. I created her after discovering his relationship with you. I needed to understand how deep this went, if you were an anomaly or a pattern. She slid her phone back, opening the dating app messages between Oliver and Rebecca. It's a pattern. Vanessa scanned the messages, her expression shifting from shock to disgust to a cold anger that mirrored Mia's own. 3 women. At the same time. At minimum, Mia said. I stopped looking after finding you and creating Rebecca. There could be more. They sat in stunned silence for a moment, 2 women united by betrayal. Then Vanessa straightened her shoulders. What happens now? She asked, a new steeliness in her voice. Before Mia could answer, she saw Oliver enter the restaurant, scanning the room eagerly. He looked handsome in a blazer she'd never seen before, bought for Vanessa, perhaps, or for this fictional Rebecca. Now, Mia said quietly, we get answers. Oliver approached the hostess stand, confidence in every line of his body. Mia watched as he gave Rebecca's name, saw the hostess's eyes flicker toward their table before she nodded and began leading him over. It took Oliver exactly 3 steps past the decorative pillar to notice them. His stride faltered momentarily, confusion crossing his features before he composed himself and continued forward, clearly assuming this was some bizarre coincidence. Vanessa, he said, surprise evident in his voice as he reached the table. What are you doing here? His eyes darted to Mia, panic beginning to set in. Mia? I don't understand. Sit down, Oliver, Mia said, her voice calm but brooking no argument. He hesitated, looking between the 2 women, his mind visibly racing to construct some explanation, some way out. Oliver? Vanessa said, her voice trembling slightly. Please sit. He sank into the chair, positioning himself equidistant between them, as if physically manifesting his emotional triangulation. I can explain, he began, the default phrase of the caught betrayer. Can you? Mia interrupted. Can you explain why you've been living with me for 18 months while dating Vanessa for 6? Can you explain why you're planning to propose to her tomorrow while still coming home to me every night? She leaned forward. Can you explain Rebecca? At the mention of that name, Oliver's face went completely white. How do you know about Rebecca? Mia finished for him. Because I am Rebecca, Oliver. Every message, every call, that was me. He stared at her, comprehension dawning like a horror movie in slow motion. That's not possible. The software is quite good, Mia said. Almost as good as you are at juggling 3 relationships simultaneously. A heavy silence descended on the table. Around them, other diners continued their meals, oblivious to the life-altering confrontation taking place just feet away. Vanessa broke the silence first. Why, Oliver? Just why? He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture both women recognized as his stress response. It's complicated. Try us, Mia suggested coldly. We're both highly intelligent women. I'm sure we can keep up. Oliver looked between them, seemingly weighing his options before his shoulders slumped in defeat. I didn't plan for any of this to happen. Mia and I were good, but then I met you, Vanessa, and there was this connection. So you just decided to keep us both? Vanessa interrupted. I couldn't bring myself to end things with either of you, he admitted. And then it had gone on so long I didn't know how to fix it. And Rebecca? Mia pressed. What's your excuse there? Oliver had the grace to look ashamed. That was, I don't know, the thrill of something new. The possibility of what? Mia asked, her voice rising slightly. A third woman to lie to? Was 2 not challenging enough? A nearby diner glanced their way, and Mia lowered her voice again. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" she continued. 3 years, Oliver. 3 years I won't get back? Planning a future with someone who was planning a completely different future with someone else. And letting me believe you were all in with me, Vanessa added, anger evident in her tight expression. Making me fall in love with someone who doesn't even exist. That's not true, Oliver protested. My feelings for both of you are real. That's why this has been so impossible. Real feelings don't look like this, Mia said, gesturing between them. Real feelings involve respect, honesty. You've shown neither. I do respect you. You respect us so much you were willing to waste years of our lives? Vanessa cut in. Do you know what else I could have been doing these past 6 months if I hadn't been building a relationship with a mirage? Oliver seemed to shrink under their combined accusations. I never meant to hurt either of you. Intentions don't matter, Mia said quietly. Results do. And the result is 2 women sitting here with their trust shattered, their time wasted, their lives upended because you were too selfish and too cowardly to be honest. What happens now? He asked, echoing Vanessa's earlier question. Mia looked at him, really looked at the man she'd loved, built a life with, imagined a future alongside, and felt nothing but a hollow ache where that love had been. Now you leave, she said simply. Your things will be packed and waiting in the hallway by tomorrow afternoon. The key to my apartment will be with the doorman. Mia, please, we can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, she interrupted. It's done. We're done. And us? Oliver turned to Vanessa, desperation in his eyes. Vanessa gave a short, bitter laugh. There is no us, Oliver. There never really was. She stood, gathering her purse. Don't contact me again, ever, she turned to Mia, an unexpected solidarity between them. Thank you. For the truth, as painful as it is. She hesitated, then added, Would you like me to stay? Mia shook her head. No. I have a few more things to say to Oliver. Alone. With a nod of understanding, Vanessa left, her dignity intact despite everything. Oliver watched her go, then turned back to Mia, his expression a mixture of shame and what appeared to be genuine remorse. I never deserved either of you, he said quietly. No, Mia agreed. You didn't. 3 months later, Mia sat on the balcony of her new apartment, watching the sunset paint the skyline in shades of orange and pink. Her laptop was open to a video call with Zoe. So the therapy's going well? Zoe asked, her face slightly pixelated on the screen. Surprisingly, yes, Mia admitted, sipping her tea. Turns out having your entire reality questioned makes you reevaluate a few things. After the confrontation at Riverstone, life had moved with remarkable speed. Oliver had indeed found his belongings packed in the hallway, the locks changed, his digital existence scrubbed from Mia's life. He'd made a few attempts to explain, to apologize, texts, emails, even a handwritten letter, but Mia had maintained her silence. Some betrayals left no room for reconciliation. The apartment had sold quickly, allowing Mia to find this smaller but brighter place across town. New neighborhood, new beginning. Have you heard anything more from him? Zoe asked carefully. Not recently, Mia said. His mother called last month. Apparently he's moved back home for a while. Taking some time to reevaluate his choices, she said. And Vanessa? Any contact there? Mia smiled slightly. We meet for coffee occasionally. There's something oddly bonding about surviving the same disaster. She didn't mention the unexpected friendship that had developed between them, 2 intelligent women, who'd been deceived by the same man, now navigating the aftermath together. They never spoke of Oliver during these meetings, focusing instead on their careers, their dreams, the futures they were rebuilding. You know, I've been thinking, Mia continued, watching a plane trace its way across the darkening sky. What he did was unforgivable. But the person I became while planning that revenge, I'm not sure I like her very much either. Zoe's expression softened. You did what you needed to do. You exposed the truth. In the most calculated, dramatic way possible, Mia pointed out. There were simpler paths to ending it. Would you have gotten the same closure from a simple breakup? Mia considered this. Maybe not. But I'm not sure I got closure from the confrontation either, just a different kind of pain. Her phone buzzed with a text, and she glanced down to see a message from Vanessa. Still on for Tuesday? Found a great new coffee spot we should try. The irony, Mia murmured, texting back a confirmation. What? Zoe asked, just thinking about how unpredictable life is. 3 months ago, I was planning the perfect revenge against my cheating boyfriend. Now I'm friends with his other girlfriend and living in an apartment I love more than the one we shared. The sun had almost completely disappeared now, the sky deepening to indigo as city lights began to twinkle. Do you regret it? Zoe asked. The way you handled everything? Mia took a long moment to consider this. I regret that it was necessary. I regret that I let someone have so much power over my happiness that his betrayal could consume me that way. She looked out at the city, her city, reclaimed. But I don't regret standing up for myself. I don't regret refusing to be anyone's secret, anyone's second choice. So what's next for Mia Coleman? Zoe asked, a smile playing at her lips. Now that the revenge plot is behind you? Mia laughed, the sound genuine and unburdened in a way it hadn't been for months. Honestly, I'm thinking of writing about it. Not just my story, but the broader experience. How people rebuild after betrayal, how they find themselves again. I'd read that, Zoe said. Hell, I'd produce the Netflix adaptation. One step at a time, Mia replied. For now, I'm just learning to trust myself again. The rest will follow. As night fully claimed the sky, Mia closed her laptop and stood, stretching. Inside her new apartment, no ghosts of Oliver remained. No shared furniture, no photographs, no memories embedded in the walls. Just her own space, decorated to her own taste, filled with possibilities rather than regrets. Her phone buzzed again, a notification from a dating app she'd recently downloaded, not out of desperation or loneliness, but as a small step toward whatever came next. She wasn't ready yet, might not be for some time, but she was open to the possibility of trust again. Cautious trust. Eyes wide open trust. The path forward wasn't clear, but for the first time in months, Mia was certain of one thing. It was her path alone to choose. No more living in someone else's shadow. No more accepting less than she deserved. The revenge had been sweet, but the real victory was in the aftermath, in reclaiming herself, piece by piece, day by day. She glanced at the dating app notification, then deliberately set her phone aside. Tomorrow, perhaps. Tonight was for herself alone.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.